Welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and today what I'm going to be doing is I've got this gingerbread house that you can make out of resin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting mica powder or brushing mica powder on here and then casting it in resin and then putting it together. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen in my other videos, I usually use a paintbrush for this, but what I have actually got this time is I've got a load of makeup brushes, and they were really cheap to buy, and they're so lovely and soft. Oh, they're so soft. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these. Now, I have used them before in a project, and I loved how they worked the actual mica powder. They actually brushed it on much better than anything else I've used. I will still be using my little micro brushes that I use as well for the details. It's really easy to paint in this, and what I'm going to be using first of all is I want to paint the roof red, but I want it to have more than one tone. So I'm going to be using this deeper wine red here in the edges of this mold and just paint. Honestly, these brushes make such a difference. They really do. Right, so they're like that. And then what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using a different red. And as you can see, that's a lot brighter red, this one here. And I'm going to be using that one on the remainder of it and then just blending it in. Like so. With the same brush that I was using. So there we go, that's that one done. And I'm just going to go ahead now and I'm going to paint all these bits in. As you can see, I've finished now painting all the colours in there that I wanted to paint in. And I'm quite pleased how they've come out, but wait until we demold them to actually make sure. Now, I filled up my resin, I've mixed it all up. And now I'm just going to pour it slowly into these moulds. And then what I will do is, once I've poured it in, if there's any areas that need bubbles removing from it, I will use my long-necked lighter for that. There we go, so they're all finished now, and all I'm going to do is, with my long-necked lighter here, I'm just going to go over that. I don't want to use a torch because I just don't want to burn this mould. It wasn't an expensive mould, but I really like it, and if this comes out well, then I'll probably make quite a few of these for different people and for family and to give away and to do bits with. These have all cured now nicely, and unfortunately when I moved them earlier, when they were still really wet, I knocked all the resin out of it. I should have left them alone in the same position, so there will be some flashing on these, but I'm interested to see how they've come out. So that's one side of the wall. That's the other side. There's the roof. See what I mean by the flashing? But that's not a problem. I will just take a sharp knife and cut that off very easily if I can't pick it off with my nails. And there is a slight two-tone effect with that roof, which I'm quite pleased about. So now all these pieces are cured, I just need to stick them together. And what I've also decided to do is make a little seamed base here. And what I'm going to be using to join this together is some 5-minute epoxy. I also am not sure if the eagle-eyed amongst you have noticed that actually I didn't put the flames in of the fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my Posca pen and I'm going to add some flames to that now. I should have done this with mica powder, but I hadn't noticed I hadn't done it. So I'm just going to pop some yellow in there, a little bit of red, and let that dry. There we go. So there's some flames in there now, and that will dry. So I'll just squeeze my 5-minute epoxy in here, like so. And don't mix up too much at one time, because if not, you will find that you won't get it. It will cure up a lot quicker than you want it to. And it does dry very clear, so you don't have to worry about if you aren't as neat as possible, because let's be honest, I'm not one of the neatest people. And then all you need to do is pop that onto the edge like so, and then pop that like so in line with the piece that you're measuring it up to, like that. And then I will tape that together while it's curing. This is all glued together now, and I think it's come out really, really well. I love it. I think it's so simple, and yet it has a great effect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it onto this little bit of canvas board with using a hot glue gun. Then I've also got some of these little fake trees, and I'm going to glue a couple of those on at the front door. So here, one each side. And then I'm going to make some resin snow and pop that around it as well to give it a feel of Christmas, and put some resin snow on the actual trees as well, and perhaps a little bit on the roof. But before I do that, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pop in some of these battery operated lights in here, pop them inside, allow the little stem of the lights to come out here, which I will then also glue down. And then, as you can see, it lights up really nicely. I think that looks quite cute, and I think it'll look nice at night as well. So I'm just going to use my hot glue gun, pop a bit of hot glue on this to hold this down, and then what will happen is the resin that I put on, the resin snow, will hold it down completely. I'm also just going to pop a bit on the edges of the corners as well to hold this down while I'm putting the actual resin around it. I'm also going to just glue these trees in place, and I want them to be like in front of the door as well. So I'm just going to pop a bit of glue there, have that in there like that, and hold that down until that's cured. There we go. So they'll stay there now until I'm ready to put the resin snow on. So I mixed up my resin with some white pigment and a tiny dash of blue. I used some gravel and a little bit of sand in a pot that I then mixed the resin in. And now I'm popping this resin and gravel mixture around this little house to make it look as if it's snow. But this is just the first stage of doing this, and this doesn't take long. And what I will do is then I will show you how I do the second stage of the snow to make it look more snow-like. I have also left a gap there so it looks like the path has been swept, because who would want to walk out onto an icy path? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the actual resin that I've got in here for about 10-15 minutes to thicken up, and then I'm going to pop some of that thicker resin on top of the trees, and possibly a little bit on the roof and the gable ends as well. So I think the actual resin is now thick enough to put onto the trees. I've left that for about 20 minutes. And all I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to pop a bit on the trees like this and let it move around where it wants to move around. And then also what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting this resin over this gravel to allow it to look more like a thicker snow on there, with some of the gravel still poking through. So I've got all the white resin on it now where I want it. I'm going to let that cure up, but I'm actually really quite pleased with how this is coming out so far, but the proof is always in the curing. So stick with me and let's see what it looks like in 24 hours when it's cured. This is all cured up nicely now, and thank goodness for doing it on a silicone mat. It really makes a big difference because I was able to just pull this off and just trim up the edges where the overflow had come off. I'm really pleased with how this has come out, and I think it lights up really, really well. I've also got hold of some little Christmas embellishments, the little tiny wooden reindeer and this little holly and berries. The little holly I'm just going to attach there. And I'm going to put, because I just can't help myself, I'm going to put a couple of reindeer on the roof, and I'm going to put the rest around the actual base. And I'm just using some, we call it Yoo-hoo glue here, but I know it's called something different in America, because Yoo-hoo is a drink, apparently. I didn't know that. So I'm just using some Yoo-hoo glue to stick those down. I will put a list to the glue or the similar glue in the actual description, as I always do. I just like cutesy, and I'm sorry, and it just makes it feel quite cutesy to me. And I think Christmas should be all about a little bit of fun. And these do take a few minutes to dry. Whoops, nearly blew that reindeer over. So I'm putting a couple. Oh, he fell over. He's drunk already on the brandy and the mince pies. Look. Oh, look, the other one's gone now. He's drunk. And I love these. They are just so cute. I just think they finish it off nicely. Just make it a little bit more quirky. Just those little finishing touches really do make a difference. I hope you've liked this. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Check out the join button as well. The join area is getting really popular now, and the live streams for the members are going really well. They worked out really good. And we also have a VIP Facebook group for members as well. If you fancy buying me a coffee just as a thank you and to help me keep my channel going and to keep producing these videos, then check out the link in the description and you can easily buy me a coffee. I do reply to everybody personally and thank them as well. Enjoy your resin and have a great fun. Take care of yourselves. Check out the video that's coming up at the end now. See you soon. Bye.